Before we get into this video, make sure you go down below, hit the subscribe button, turn on all post notifications. Guys, we are getting straight to it. If you watched yesterday's vlog, you would see me ask all my friends if they're going to vote this year. And I was doing that for myself. I wanted to know, do I want to vote this year? And I thought getting their opinions and their perspectives would kind of help me make that decision. And it was like super interesting. Like, one of my friends said he is going to vote for a particular person because his family members vote for that person. One of my friends said they're not going to vote at all. Another one of my friends said, look, the presidential election's cool and all, but I'm more worried about like the votes on the policies in our city. Another person was like, yeah, I'm going to vote and keep it secret. And that was interesting too, because I was like, damn, is it because you don't want any controversy? Because I see a lot of controversy happen between disagreements when people go to vote. And I was just so mind blown, bro. Like, no one really had like the same answer of why they're voting. And I don't know, it led me to going on my live stream. And you guys know politics can be a touchy subject, just like religion. But last night on my live stream, I left it open, told my mods, don't take away any messages that have to do with politics. I even titled it, who should I vote for? Who are you voting for? And really got so many opinions because I was really trying to understand, like, who am I voting for and why am I voting for them? After we had got off stream, after seeing so many opinions and hearing about so many economic policies and promises that were made by each individual for the country, I was like, we really got to do our research. So we spent like 2 hours before bed just watching YouTube videos and reading articles about Trump and Kamala, right? That's how you say it? I keep butchering her name, but Kamala? Something like that. But we are going to do more research right now. We just sat down in the car. We grabbed some Starbucks. It's going to be like a little mukbang, but we're going to pretty much just research Trump and research Kamala and kind of make our decision on who we want to vote for, because today, for the first time in both of our lives, we are going to vote. We've never done it before. Never pulled up to a voting place and filled it out what is it, ballot?
Ballot, yeah.
Like, it's going to be a really cool experience. And I just thought, like, yeah, man, it matters. Like,
it does matter.
It does matter. Like, you got to really think, like, man, we have the choice to pick who we want as our next president, and as a majority, as a country, we get to decide. Instead of one person saying, ha, you don't get a decision, this is who it is. Like, the world decides together, and who we decide on is important, because it's like going to determine the next 4 years of the country we live in, you know, yeah. Our lives and the stuff that happens in our lives, and healthcare and taxes and all of that stuff. So we're going to crack into some of this food, start sipping this coffee. You guys probably don't know, but my uncle is really big on politics. So I asked him today to send me an article that would help me in my decision on voting, an article that wasn't biased, right? Something that really just laid out Trump and Kamala. And he sent me an article from News Nation, and it kind of goes through everything that they're promising and all the policies and their views and what they're going to do. And it's nice because it puts them side-by-side comparison. For example, we're going to start with abortion. I will be Trump and Lexi will be Kamala. And I know I'm butchering the name, but I really like Kamala. It reminds me of a camel. Trump on abortion. During the September debate, Trump falsely said Democrats support abortions in the third trimester and after birth. No state in the country allows termination after birth. He refused to commit to vetoing a national abortion ban. When asked directly if he would veto a ban, Trump indicated Congress wouldn't need to pass one. The former president wouldn't initially say during a town hall whether he supported a federal abortion ban. He called the overturning of the landmark abortion rights case, Roe v. Wade, a great victory during a CNN town hall. In April 2024, he said on his social media platform, Truth Social, that it would be best if states handled abortion the way their constituents want, adding he's in favor of exceptions for rape, incest, and life of the mother. Also said on Truth Social that he strongly supports fertility treatments and that he has never and will never advocate for restricting birth control and other contraceptives. So before we get into yours, let's just understand something. It says right here, he's in favor of exceptions for rape, incest, and life of mother. Does that mean, because it says if states handled abortion the way their constituents want, adding he's in favor for exceptions. So does that mean he's like except if it's rape, incest, or life, right? Mother of life, then he would support it. Wipe your face. You got cream on your face.
Sorry.
Like literally, I'm not trying to be funny.
It's cream cheese.
That was cream cheese. I'm being serious. It also says has never and will never advocate for restricting birth control and other contraceptives. So it's not like he's against women on birth control or stuff that prevents pregnancy, and it's not like he's against abortion here. As far as like the exceptions, like he doesn't want. It sounds like he isn't supporting abortion unless it's rape, incest, or the life of the mother.
Yeah.
Right. So let's go ahead before we talk about it. Go ahead and let us know what Harris is saying.
All right. Harris said women do not want abortion bans, speaking about women who are miscarrying and denied care because doctors are afraid to go to jail, and young teens who are incest victims being forced to give birth. She committed to signing a bill to protect the right to abortion across the United States. Harris is aligned with Biden in her view on abortion and said everything is at stake regarding women's reproductive rights. The vice president is in favor of ensuring all American women have access to legal abortions. Every person of whatever gender should understand that it is such a fundamental freedom, such as the right to make decisions about your own body, can be taken. Harris said in a joint MSNBC interview with Hallie Duvall, an abortion rights advocate from Kentucky who was raped by her stepfather as a child. Harris falsely wrote on X that Trump would ban abortion nationwide. She then added, President Joe Biden and I will do everything in our power to stop him and restore women's reproductive freedom. Harris also visited a Planned Parenthood clinic in Minnesota in March, describing the banning or heavy restrictions of abortions as immoral. How dare these elected leaders believe that they are in a better position to tell women what they need, Harris said at the time. We have to be a nation that trusts women.
So from reading that, I am hearing that Harris falsely said that Trump would have banned, that he would ban abortion entirely. And that's crazy because I heard that rumor and I believed it to be true, that he really said that, but it says it's falsely because Trump is saying in his, or I should say the article is saying for Trump, that he isn't against abortion if it's for the exceptions in that list, which were like incest and rape, of course, right? Mm-hmm. So it also sounds like Harris is more like abortion if you want it, like doesn't matter the situation, it's your body. If you want abortion, get it. I think Trump is more along the lines of like, look, if it's a bad reason to kill off the baby that could have been, then I get it. But if it's not, then you should go through with that baby and give it a chance at life.
Yeah. Which,
that topic gets so deep, guys. And go ahead and voice your opinions in the comments. There is no wrong opinion. I want to hear them all, bro.
Well, what I was going to read back was Trump falsely said Democrats support abortions in the third trimester and after birth. But no state in the country allows termination after birth.
Yeah, so they both lied. Like Trump is saying like Democrats are trying to kill babies that are already made. Like, nah. Like, if we clear it up, it sounds like Harris is saying like, look, it's a woman's body, they can decide. But Trump is kind of saying like, look, if you got pregnant and it wasn't because of these bad reasons and it was just like you got pregnant, then you should assume the responsibility and take care of the kid type shit, right?
Yeah, I get that, but it's
that's like, a tough one for me.
What if your situation is so bad and that you and that kid end up on the street?
That's what I'm saying. Like, that is true, and that's what I'm saying. It's so deep for me on that topic personally. I'm gonna have to go with Harris, just because I believe a woman has. Like, that's her body. Like, imagine if someone told me, like, imagine if men got pregnant, and then somebody was like, Damo, you have to have this baby. And I'm sitting here like, I can't even handle this baby. I don't have any money. It was a mistake. But then, see, it gets so deep, but then someone could be like, well, that was your mistake. What is your... How are you going to decide whether this kid lives or dies? But then somebody could say, like, oh, it's not a kid yet. It's still early enough to stop it. But it's like...
Yeah, but is it worse to, like, wait till you're ready, or is it worse to bring them into this world and like give them a terrible life?
I don't know. That one's tied for me, bro. And I'm not gonna lie, like I think I still give it to Harris, because like let the owner of that body, which is that person's self, decide what they want to do. Especially like to force someone to have a baby they don't want, like that's not gonna be good at all for like the kid, you know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna give that one to Harris. Again, nobody is right or wrong, and this is not supposed to make or break relationships. These are opinions that we're sharing. Me and Lexi might disagree at one point during this list, but there's nothing wrong with that. It's not gonna make or break our relationship, bro. You know what I'm saying? The next topic is the border crisis. Trump and his allies have falsely accused Haitian immigrants in the small Ohio town of Springfield of abducting and eating pets. There's no evidence that the community is doing that, officials told the Associated Press. The former president would launch the largest deportation effort in U.S. history, paid for with redirected military funds, Reuters reported. He would restore his 2019 Remain in Mexico program, which required asylum seekers at the U.S. border to wait in Mexico while their cases are processed. Trump said he would end what he called catch and release and instead detain all migrants who are caught entering the United States without authorization or violating other immigration laws. He'd also deputize the U.S. National Guard and local law enforcement to help with the rapid deportations, according to Reuters. The former president said that he would enact travel bans denying entry to people from the Gaza Strip, Libya, Somalia, Syria, Yemen, and anywhere else that threatens our security. Block communists, Marxists, and socialists from entering the U.S. and send deportation officers to pro-Hamas protests. End birthright citizenship for children born in the U.S. to undocumented parents.
Wow.
That's a big... That's crazy. End Biden's immigration parole program and roll back temporary protected status designations. Try again to end the Deferred Action of Childhood Arrivals program, commonly referred to as the DACA. While he was president, about 450 miles of barriers were built along the southwest border, according to the Associated Press. So, again, we're going to hear Harris first, and then we can kind of get into both.
Okay. So Harris says, among Republicans, Harris has the ironic moniker of Border Caesar, owing to her work wherein she oversaw diplomacy with Mexico and the Northern Triangle as a means of addressing root causes of migration. Biden gave her the responsibility of manning everything immigration along the southern border in 2021, with her role, according to the White House at the time, to stem the arrival of irregular migrants. Republicans heavily criticized the Biden-Harris approach to the border, a hot-button issue in this election cycle. Under the Biden-Harris administration, migrants crossing into the U.S. from Mexico hit records high at the end of 2023. Close to 250,000 crossed during December 2023, surpassing the previous high of 224,000 encounters in May of 2022, also under the Biden-Harris watch. Harris announced in March that $5.2 billion in pledges from private companies have been made to prop up Central American communities to deter illegal entry to the U.S. under her guidance. The problems, of course, did not occur overnight, and the solutions will not be achieved overnight, Harris said of the border at the time.
Their approaches are both different.
Trump, I saw it in a video. Trump is like extreme on immigrants right now. Like he wants to rip apart families and like send them back, like deportation times. I don't know. Yeah,
and then it seems like Harris, like even right here when she says Harris announced in March that $5.2 billion in pledges from private companies have been made to prop up Central American communities. Sounds like they're addressing the problem at the source. Like let's help these communities be better so that they don't have to flee from their communities. But that is I agree with that achievement will not occur overnight and the solutions will not be achieved overnight. I agree with that. That's hard.
Yeah.
You know, I do understand little about the immigration and how it works, and I do know that illegals don't pay tax. I know that they don't have to do everything a U.S. citizen has to do. Me personally, I think becoming a U.S. citizen shouldn't be easier, but should be more accessible. I definitely think it's important to speak English in America and not come here without the English language, just for the sake of that individual's like process out here. It would just make things very easy for them to transition if they understand English. That's another, these topics are so tough. I don't think opening up the borders for everyone to slide through is like the best bet. I definitely think because of different lifestyles and because of different like poverty levels or like economic levels, as far as the economy in different countries can like determine who a person is. And I think just having a more accessible program to become a U.S. citizen and like do all the things necessary to become a full functioning citizen and get your citizenship would be better. But I don't know too much about the topic. I do like Harris's approach as far as like attacking the source at the problem, but it would be better. I would like their policies merged together. Like, let's stop the immigration. I don't agree with splitting up families, but let's get proactive and figure out ways to make them into model U.S. citizens, as far as not what we think they need to be, but just things that we think they need essentially to survive and live better when they do come to the United States. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. He's also saying too that if your parents are undocumented and they live in the United States and you're born in the United States, you're not a U.S. citizen.
You're not a U.S. citizen. And which is kind of crazy. Yeah, because like I know a lot of people who are in that situation where their parents are illegal, but they were born in the United States.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, that's a 50-50 for me. I there's some things I don't like about Harris's approach, and there's some things I don't like for Trump. I'm really not gonna let that be a deciding factor for me because I don't know too much about immigration.
But at least we know like different views.
They're different views. But I am gonna like, if I had to pick one, I would say I like attacking the problem at the source. People might not agree with me as far as giving money to another country to help it out, but like whatever we can do to just help people in general should be the main mission. My biggest goal is not my biggest goal, but my biggest dream is to see the world come together as one. But people say that's impossible. Climate change. Trump. During the September debate, Trump falsely claimed that under Harris there would be no fossil fuels and the country would go back to windmills. At one point, Trump called himself a fan of solar, but then criticized solar farms that take up large plots of land. Claimed he will end the Green New Deal atrocities on his first day if re-elected. The measure was never signed into law. Said he would free up stores of liquid gold for energy development. Vowed to speed up an approval for natural gas pipelines into Marcellus Shale in Pennsylvania, West Virginia, and New York. Exit the Paris Climate Agreement again. Trump previously pulled the U.S. from the agreement, but Biden rejoined upon taking office. Said he would fight litigation from the environmentalists. Okay.
Harris. During the September debate, Harris also called for investment in diverse sources of energy so we reduce our reliance on foreign oil. Harris has backed the Biden administration climate initiatives, including legislation providing billions in tax credit for the renewable energy and electric vehicles. The clock is not just ticking, it is banging, she said last year, referencing climate change-driven disasters. She noted the administration made the largest climate investment in America's history. During her 2020 presidential bid, Harris emphasized environmental justice, addressing climate change's effects on poor and minority communities. She continued this focus as vice president. In 2019, as a senator, Harris and Representative Alexandria proposed legislation to evaluate environmental rules, impact on low-income communities, and it would have created an Office of Climate and Environmental Justice Accountability and Climate Justice Advisors in federal agencies. Harris introduced a border version in 2020. Neither bill passed, the New York Times reported.
That's easy. One believes in climate change and one doesn't. Trump is trying to pull out of all these climate change acts, and Harris is like, nah, let's throw money towards it. And it's pretty wild. Can I be honest? Like, I thought going into this, for some reason, I was going to vote for Trump. I still might. I don't know. We're still going through the list, and I'm still making my decision. But right now, Harris is taking a lot of points. I'm not sitting here going, climate change is real, but I do know that what we do as human beings affects the world. How do I know? Because in Laguna Beach, we kept going down there and taking all the stuff from the wildlife coral reefs, and it got to a point where it almost went extinct, that they had to ban people from taking shit from the coral reefs, and now it's a $10,000 fine. You try to take a starfish out of there because we were ruining the environment and changing the environment. We were making species go extinct. And so do I believe that humans doing certain things with their cars and emissions, or certain stuff that we're not supposed to be doing and letting out into the air, is affecting our climate? Do I think there's a chance that could be real? 100%. And I think it would be nice to be planned. I don't know. Me personally, I think every year the weather gets weird and different. But then again, you know, what do I know about weather?
So what does this mean? Harris has backed the Biden administration's climate initiatives, including legislation providing billions in tax credit for renewable entry and electric vehicles, which means it's better for the environment. Yeah,
they're advocating for climate change. They want a better climate. That they think that it's important to focus on, because that we don't want to, something with climate change, I forget what it was, like something with the ozone layer and the heat coming through, and how like eventually we would reach record temperatures that would damn near burn our skin. But again, what do I know? All I know is I'm reading this, and one supports it, one doesn't, and I kind of support anything that involves making the world a cleaner place or a better place. Even if it doesn't work, the fact that we're trying to make... If you live in LA, you know what I mean. You go to downtown, you're going to be like, oh my God, please, climate change. It smells like piss in the air. All right? Seriously. And I'm not saying that has any relation to climate change. I'm just saying, like, anything to make the world a cleaner and better world. Our mother world. What?
I was going to say, this next one's a good one, so go ahead.
Crime. Trump said he would move homeless encampments out of the cities. Vowed to give police more authority, deploy the military to fight the nation's drug problem, and impose the death penalty for convicted drug dealers. Promised to deliver record funding to hire and retain police officers, strengthen qualified immunity, and increase penalties for assaults on law enforcement. Said he would send federal prosecutors and the National Guard into high crime communities, according to his campaign website. As President Trump granted pardons to 73 people and commuted to the sentence of an additional 70, that includes former staff members and advisors such as Paul Manafort, Roger Stone, Michael Flynn, Stephen K. Bannon, and George Papadopoulos, whatever you say that. Go ahead.
Okay, Harris, in April, hosted reality television star Kim Kardashian at the White House to discuss criminal justice reform after the Biden administration granted clemency to people convicted of nonviolent drug offenses. The U.S. incarcerates more people than any other country. About 1 in 5 of those 1.9 million people are behind bars for drug-related offense. Black and Latino people are disproportionately incarcerated, and drug law reform has the broadest support among young voters. Black, Latino, and young voters tend to favor Democrats. Everybody makes mistakes, and for some that might rise to the level of being a crime, Harris said at the White House, but it is not the sign of a civil society that we allow people a way to earn their right back and give them the support and the resources they need to do that. Harris' record as California Attorney General, however, drew the ire of many progressives during her 2020 bid for the presidency. During her 7 years as a district attorney and then 6 as an attorney general, she defended the cash bail system in a pair of federal court cases, shifting course only weeks before she entered the Senate. As a presidential candidate in 2020, she pledged a wholesale overhaul of the country's criminal justice system, arguing for marijuana legalization, bail reform, and a moratorium on the death penalty.
The last part says Vice President Harris will face off Republican nominee for November 5. Oh, look at their faces, bro. Can you guys see that?
That is a huge difference.
Like, they both look like aliens. they literally, let me see if I can. They both look like aliens, bro. But pretty much, Trump is cracking down on drug crime, is what I'm reading from this. And Harris is trying to, again, like, attack it instead of like punishment, she's trying to like give people a chance to like fix life and invest money into helping people get back on track, is what it sounds like. Someone in the comments go more into this, because I'm going to start it off with, personally, I like Trump for this one.
Really?
Yes, because I have family members that have suffered from drug addiction, and I think if you're able to sell fentanyl to somebody and kill someone's little brother or older brother to make a dime to get by, that, like, I get, like, listen to this line right here, like that. It kind of, I was like, what do you mean? Like, it said everybody makes mistakes, and for some that might rise to the level of being a crime. So I get it if it's like marijuana, bro, like, who cares?
I think
like,
that's what they're talking about.
If that's the case, for sure, but marijuana isn't like necessarily a drug anymore, you know what I'm saying?
She pledged an overhaul of the country's criminal justice system, arguing for marijuana legalization. Basically, whoever got incarcerated for selling weed would get released.
No, that's cool, but I'm just saying, like, I want somebody to get a little deeper in the comments on this. Like, are they talking about just the ganja, or are they talking about like cocaine, fet, molly? Because I've had a lot of family members that have either lost one of their siblings, and friends who have lost one of their siblings or lost a parent, or, you know, I've lost friends to drug addiction, and it all starts, you know, at the end of the day, it starts with the person, but like, you've got to imagine, like, hey, here, I'm selling fet, selling cut coke, or I'm selling coke that I don't even know if it's cut or it has fet in it. I just need to get money, and it's worth killing people around me and risking their lives because they're making the decision to get the drugs. Like, there's no justification to it. Like, I would feel so bad, bro, if I were a dealer. And if you guys know, I used to sell weed. Weed was cool, though. You ain't overdosing on weed, bro. You ain't doing anything on weed but eating too much and sleeping too long. You know what I'm saying? Like, but I would never sell anything but that, because I was like, bro, what if I sold an 8-ball to someone and they did too much and overdose that day, and it was my homie's friend or my homie's little sister went to a party? Like, at the end of the day, I gave her what she needed to kill herself, bro. You know what I'm saying? So, like, that if I had done that in my life, I hope someone would punish me for that, bro, and I hope I'd pay a consequence for making that kind of decision in my life. But marijuana, nah. That's why someone clarify. But for the time being, I'm giving that one to Trump. I'm strict about the drug stuff.
I like
bro.
how he said he would move homeless encampments out of cities.
That's a big thing too. Like, Dub was literally chased in MacArthur Park the other day with a guy with a needle. When you drive past MacArthur Park, they're just... you guys, I don't know if you guys know, maybe it's not the same everywhere, but in LA, when we say homeless encampment, that bitch is filled with crack, condoms, needles, heroin. Like, it's not like a bunch of homeless people who lost their jobs and are all just chilling, like trying to make a way back up on their feet to get some money. Like, I'm sure there's a couple of them in there, but like 90% of them are just open. Like, go ahead, drive past there one day, keep your windows up because it's dangerous, and watch, you'll count like five people smoking crack, 10 people shooting up, 3 people fucking, like, it's crazy out there. And I would love for that to move out of the city.
Where does he plan to, like, I guess it doesn't say too much about
probably
that.
Area 51. I'm just kidding, but yeah, it is what it is. Oh, look, fentanyl crisis and opioid epidemic is the next one. It says Trump. Who are you going with on that one?
That's what I was trying to get at. I think I like both. Like, I think there's a certain, like you said, it depends on what kind of drugs it is, because in Harris, they do say, like, a lot of Black and Latinos are wrongly incarcerated for this stuff. And they're going to get the death penalty because they were wrongly convicted? Like,
again, I feel like it's based off situation.
Yeah. So I'm kind of 50-50
You killed
on
someone's
that one.
kid selling them fentanyl, you got to pay the price.
Yeah.
But you sold a little dime bag and you're doing 8 years, like, man, you need justice.
I'm
you feel
50-50.
I'm going to go with Trump on that one. Fentanyl crisis, opioid epidemic. Trump said he would impose a total naval embargo on cartels, vowed to designate cartels as foreign terrorist organizations, promised to order the Department of Defense to inflict maximum damage on cartel leadership and operations, said he would seek the death penalty, eligibility for cartel members and traffickers, said he would permanently designate fentanyl as a federally controlled substance, promised to threaten China with a steep price unless it works hard to end the export of fentanyl chemical precursors, vowed to create partnerships to encourage companies to provide job opportunities and skills training to to people recovering from addiction, said he would expand federal support for faith-based counseling, treatment, and recovery programs, promised family leave to care for relatives trying to overcome addiction. Go ahead.
Harris. In May 2024, the Biden-Harris administration announced the approval of over $1.5 billion in state or tribal opioid response funding to address the overdose crisis. Harris gathered state attorneys general from across the country at the White House in July 2023 to discuss fentanyl and illicit drugs in America. We each recognize and have joined together today because we are facing a public health crisis, and it is also, therefore, is an issue that must have a response that addresses the underlying public health concerns that are both about addiction and treatment. Harris wants to increase access to the affordability of naloxone, which reverses overdoses, with the vice president calling it the difference between life or death.
Can I start?
Go ahead.
Already. I'm with Trump, bro. He wants to cut it at the source. He wants to increase the penalty. He wants to crack down and get over with it.
I get that. Both make sense, but it sounds like Trump is going to go start a war over it. Inflation and economy.
Okay, inflation and economy. Trump promised lower taxes, bigger paychecks, and more jobs for Americans by enacting universal baseline tariffs that reward domestic protection and tax foreign companies. Said he would lower interest rates, claimed to have achieved the lowest unemployment rate in 50 years, 3.5% with 6.4 million added jobs before the pandemic. During his presidency, federal debt held by the public rose from $14.4 trillion to $21.6 trillion, influenced by Trump's tax cuts, particularly his slashes to the corporate tax rate, according to the Annenberg Public Policy Center's Fact Check Project. Trump is proposing tax cuts for big businesses and wealthy to spur investment. He said his tax cuts would garner 3% growth, a milestone he did not reach in his first term. Trump has proposed broad tariffs to encourage domestic manufacturing. He has proposed no taxes on tips or Social Security income.
Harris. Shortly after taking office as vice president for Biden, the administration signed the American Rescue Plan, a $2 trillion stimulus package that delivered checks to Americans, boosted unemployment insurance benefits, and expanded the child tax credit. Inflation peaked at a 4-decade high of 9% in summer 2022, but has since receded to around 3.5%. Congress passed the Inflation Reduction Act in August 2022, which invested in clean energy that the White House estimates created 17,000 jobs and will reduce Americans' energy costs by as much as 9% by 2030. Harris said that inflation was a high priority for the administration. Quote, "The president and our administration's probably highest priority is bringing down the price of gas and cost of living," Harris said. During her time as senator, Harris tried to get a bill passed where tax credits up to $6,000 would be available for middle and lower income households. Harris has also been a strong proponent of forgiving student debt, spearheading the Biden administration's move to abolish debt for several 100,000 students at Corinthians colleges. In 2017, she co-sponsored Bernie Sanders' proposal for free college for middle-class students at four-year public schools and all who attended two-year institutions. Harris wants to raise taxes on the wealthy and big businesses to fund investments in housing and tax credits for parents. She has proposed more financial assistance for first-time homebuyers and expanded tax credits for parents. She also wants to cut taxes for small businesses and entrepreneurs. Harris wants to remove taxes on tips. That was a lot, but it sounds like Harris is trying to cut taxes for middle and lower class, and Trump is just focusing on cutting taxes for the already rich people.
Yeah, I guess a big thing too is that whole stimulus thing and
what's
the
crazy
money.
is Elijah said that in your video that was Trump, but it was Harris and Biden.
But all I know is I know a lot of people out here in Los Angeles, and when they did that, all they did was finesse the system, take advantage of it, and use it for an excuse not to go back to work.
A stimulus check?
Everything, all the packages, the stimulus, the unemployment, all of that. They milked all of it. The PPP loans, and I'm talking about a lot of fucking people. And it was to the point where I remember people were begging for people to come back to work. So that's the only thing that's tough for me. I like what she's doing, but I still like Trump's approach let's bring more jobs to America and get people back into the working field versus helping them kick back and chill. Because I'll be honest, even when, remember, I had just lost my job around that time, I did the unemployment, and how long did we just sit on unemployment? I barely looked for a job. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was, but I wasn't trying my hardest because it was like, I'm getting this free money and it's enough for me to survive.
Yeah, but it doesn't say anything in here that he's trying to help people get jobs.
No, he's bringing more jobs to America.
How?
It says
it. It says right here.
How? 3.5% with 6.4 million added jobs before the pandemic. He had the lowest percentage of an unemployment rate in the last 50 years.
Before the pandemic.
But of course, because what is the pandemic? Lex COVID.
Huh.
So what? The pandemic was his fault?
No, I'm not saying that.
I'm saying that what you said, I don't think it's valid. Like, before the pandemic. What does that mean? He still had the lowest unemployment percentage in history in the last 50 years.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And it's a topic I've heard people talk about. Like, some people are like, oh yeah, more stimuluses and unemployment benefits so people can get lazy, versus like giving more jobs so people can just go get more jobs and start making an income. You know what I'm saying? Like,
so for Harris, it says inflation peaked at a 4-decade high of 9% in summer 2022, but has since reduced to around 3.5%.
Yeah, but again, that's probably, I could be wrong. Someone let us know, but that's probably due because the pandemic is over. You know what I'm saying? Like,
which invested in clean energy that the White House.
I'm going with Trump on this one.
I'm going with Harris.
That's fine. Israel-Palestine conflict. Trump said Israel should finish the problem in Gaza, but warned that Israel is losing the public relations battle. Was critical of Israel Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu in the wake of October 7th attack told I read that wrong, but told Time magazine in April that Netanyahu rightfully has been criticized for what took place. Trump said Israel should finish the problem in Gaza, though he was warned that the Israelites are losing the public relation battle. Trump has been critical in the wake of October 7th attack, told Time magazine in April that the Prime Minister rightfully has been criticized for what took place. Said during October Fox News, "We need to protect Israel. There is no choice." Go ahead.
When asked how to handle the war in the Middle East, Harris said that Israel has a right to defend itself, citing the October 7 attacks, while also saying that too many Palestinian civilians have been killed during fighting in Gaza. She said that the war must end, there must be a ceasefire deal, and the hostages must be released by Hamas. Harris called for an immediate ceasefire in Gaza in March, describing the situation as a humanitarian catastrophe. She said Hamas' threat to Israel must be eliminated, but added that too many innocent Palestinians have been killed. She opposed an Israeli invasion of Rafah, southern Gaza, where over a million people had fled. I have studied the maps. There's nowhere for those folks to go, she said, noting about 1.5 million people were there after being told to go. Harris has repeatedly expressed support for a two-state solution.
I'm with Harris on that one. I don't think people should die in general. Like you got to think in those wars, right? It's like two different countries beefing about something, but then you got like these people, just like us, like me and you, right? Do we spend all day thinking about what the United States does or what happens? No, we think about our family and our friends and our lives and our loved ones, and holidays, and we don't have anything to do with any of that shit. We're just bystanders, just like living in a country that we were born in.
Yeah.
And so what? Then to settle the beef, we're gonna go over there and blow everything up and kill a bunch of people to make a point and get what's ours back. Like, I think I'm not siding with any side. I'm just saying, like, killing in general is sad, and like I never really supported war. People argue with me, maybe might say that we need war, people dying and fighting for land and countries and power is just worth it, but in reality, like, at the end of the day, we're all human beings and nobody should be dying for somebody else's beef. You know what I'm saying? I've seen a lot of videos, like, what about the kids who have no idea what the hell is going on? They're just in a freaking place that's just getting blown up and watching their closest ones die.
No, facts.
So like, if the ceasefire and like stopping all of it and like coming to better terms on as far as how to work that out is way better than a bunch of people dying anything.
Yeah, basically.
Shit is so sad.
I agree.
So there's a couple other topics. Me and you talked about the Social Security one last night.
Yeah.
And just to kind of speed this up, guys, but pretty much Trump is open to making cuts on the Social Security tax, and Harris is on Social Security Expansion Act, which is now championed by leaders including a lot of big people. Pretty much both of them are trying to do stuff for I think the only one we should address is
War in Ukraine.
The war in Ukraine. And again, we'll keep this short. Trump spoke heatedly at September's debate about wanting Russia's war in Ukraine to be over, but twice refused to directly answer a question about whether he wanted U.S. ally to Ukraine to win. Harris praised American and NATO support for Ukraine in its fight against Russia. Harris announced that the U.S. would donate over $1.5 billion to Ukraine. And then Trump called for a ceasefire in an official campaign statement, said he could solve the conflict in a single day. And at the end of the day, the reason I talk about that is like both of them are trying to do the right thing and stop the war. And I know Kamala's honoring our alliance with Ukraine because it's an ally. And
yeah,
I personally think Trump is a more straightforward guy. I think he knows more business, money, and being a person building a business and going bankrupt and owning a casino and all that stuff. I feel like when it comes to like negotiations, he's probably really good at that. I like his approach. I think they should cease fire. And then I when he says stuff like that, guys, when he's like, I could fix it in a day, I really think he really could do that. He's got a businessman mentality. And that's how I look at it. I look at Kamala as like someone who's, you know, I'm sure she looks at it as a business perspective, but I see more of like a heart and understanding. I see Trump more as like business, numbers, facts, like two different types of people. I see their different views, you know what I'm saying? Like one is like, I don't give a shit, let's get it done, whatever we gotta do, America. And then the other one's like, nah, like let's do what's right, like let's help families, let's attack at the source. And it really gets so complicated. My mind's so construed right now.
I know, it is such a crazy thing.
Yeah, we're gonna let this all sit in our brains right now, because we do gotta head over to the voting location if we want to vote. But me and Lexi will really think about these things that we read in this article and just some of the stuff that we talked about last night before we make our decision. But man, I do not blame anybody for having a headache about who they want to vote for. And I respect everybody's opinions because it's so deep that, like, there's stuff that I agree with Harris, but there's stuff that I agree with Trump, and same with the disagreements, right? And
yeah,
it's like, if I wish personally that I could take the stuff I like from one person and another person, put them together. But I guess this is what voting is for. At this point, we got to decide what changes matter the most to us and what we want to see happen next in the next 4 years.
yeah.
So let's go ahead and head over to the voting location if you want to pop the address in. And after we vote, we will let you guys know at the end of the video who we ended up going with. Wow, this is crazy. Like I said, I've never voted before in my life, and neither has Lex, and we just got here, and I'm going to show you guys this line, bro. So it starts here.
To talk to them.
Look at everyone coming together to vote, voice their opinions, help mold America. We are gonna be here for a long ass time, bro. Crazy, but we're right next to my favorite comic card shop, so while Lexi stands in line, I might run in there, no cap. Wow, it wraps all the way around the building, bro. When we got to the first line, one of the representatives who worked there was like, yeah, go to this other one, it's gonna take 15 minutes. It's a way shorter line. She was wrong. It's way longer. This line goes all the way behind me and all the way down the hall. But it's cool. I'm gonna start a timer so you guys can understand how long it typically takes to vote, I guess in LA or just in general. And we'll see, you know, hopefully it's not an hour. It really does look like it's gonna be like a couple of days. This was truly destiny. We're standing in line and Horacio just happens to pick the same place that we did not plan this. He was just walking down the hallway and I was like, hey bro, You want to skip? Let's see how long we've been waiting right now. We're almost by the door. Like, we probably got, what, another 10 or 15 minutes? It's been about 44, 45 minutes from where we started, but according to Chad, she went down there just to see if he should just wait in line. And he said it wraps a whole other hallway now. So you would times that by 2. That is the wait time right now. But so far, 46 minutes, not that bad. 51 minutes. We made it, guys. We're at the door. As soon as you walk through here, it is time to vote. Are you ready to vote? Are you ready to vote? Let's do a practice here. Who votes that you should give me $100? All right, who votes to give me $1? Raise your hand. All right.
I'm putting no.
I'm gonna try to show you guys really quick what the ballot looks like.
Hi, you can just wait right here and she can help you in a moment.
So it's paper or it's digital?
So it's a blank ballot, it prints out on the machine and then you cast it into the ballot boxes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Crazy. But you fill it out through the screen?
Through the like touch screen.
Oh, that's sick. That's sick. I was like, damn, I thought you meant it's by paper and pen.
Oh, no.
I was like, we're in 20?
No.
24. I was like, this is crazy.
No, yeah, it's like a laser kind of like heat printer.
I don't remember the last time
There's
I
no
used
ink.
a pen.
I know.
Even at the doctor's office, it's all like tablets and
Yeah,
stuff.
right, I know.
Yeah.
QR code and then fill it out.
Yeah, dude, seriously.
This is essentially, QR code.
Okay, cool.
Hi. Number 3.
Thank you.
Hey,
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good.
Can I get the first 3 letters of your last name? So then now I'm just gonna print this for you, and you're gonna take it to the right hand side of the machine,
Okay.
and you're gonna insert it.
Okay.
It's gonna like suck it in, and just like try not to jerk it because it'll cause a paper jam.
Yeah, but I received my
The paper?
vote
You're talking
by
about the
mail
paper?
Yes,
on
the
my
paper.
new
Oh,
address,
okay.
So maybe they switched.
Here you go.
If it's on your
Thank you.
address, then you have
Yeah.
I can start now too, right? Thank you so much. I want to start voting. Make your selections. There are 25 contests on today's ballot.
We've got an open one just around.
Okay, write-in candidates. Voter nominated, non-primary. This is where I put the paper in.
I'm just going to ask you to confirm that yes, you already cast it.
Okay.
And then, assuming you are, then you hit yes, and then you hit cast ballot. And then it is cast.
Well, that wasn't so scary, was it? I should probably vote every year then. Yeah, that was easy.
Comment on that, but we'll get a sticker if you did that. And
Oh, I definitely want the sticker.
yeah, so I guess stickers are going to wait.
Yeah, who threw that?
All
Thank
right,
you so much.
Sticker?
Thank you.
Yes.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
There it is. Says I voted. Come on now. First time experience. Hi. She's so cute. That's so funny. Hell yeah, I voted. And I'm about to let you guys know as soon as I talk to Horatio and Lexi, we're going to announce who we all voted for. What was your voting experience?
It was good. I didn't know it was gonna be digital. Did you?
No. Thought it was going to be like paper and pen.
Like you would write it, but it was digital. And so basically, you fill it out on the iPad, then it goes in the machine, then you make sure everything looks correct, and then it goes
I've
back in the
seen it.
machine.
You don't have to tell him. I'm asking you how was your
It
experience.
was cool. It was cool. It was good. It was quick.
Oh, you thought I turned off the camera there? Yeah, right. My experience, it was easy. I thought it was going to be a lot more complicated. The wait was like an hour. I think I got to be more knowledgeable next year. Since it's my first time, I feel like I was prepared for it because there were a lot of questions for votes on stuff that I didn't know, like senator and certain policies. Did you vote on everything or did you skip some just because you didn't know what some of them were talking about? Oh, on everything? Yeah, see, I didn't know. I thought it was straight up just going to be Trump, or Harris. But then I was like, wait, there's 25 questions I gotta vote on? I was like,
There's
damn.
4 props. So basically it gives you a description of the prop and yes or no.
Those ones I read and voted yes or no.
Yeah,
But the ones that I didn't understand, like when they were like, who do you want to be senator, this guy or this guy? I skipped it because I was like, I don't know nothing about you. How am I going to give a valid answer?
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? But overall, I think voting is super easy, guys. I think the only hard part is understanding who you want to vote for. So do your research more than I did in these last couple days. Probably like leading up to elections, like start understanding who the candidates are and start understanding who your senators are and your DAs and everything that's getting voted on in the city. I finally understand what Tiny meant when he said like vote for the smaller things happening in your city, like the district attorney and your senators and your this and your that. Now I get it, because it's not just one question. I've been moving in cruise control. Can't stop, won't stop, cause I feel so unstoppable. Yeah. Yeah. Even times when I lose control. Can't stop, won't stop, cause this is all I've ever known. Yeah. Yeah. Avoiding altercations. Don't you test my patience, don't you? No. Don't test it. Praying to God I get a blessing. Cause this is dedication. I don't ever plan to let this go. Gotta get it hit, so you know I'm about to go ahead and lock it in. I've been moving in cruise control. Can't stop, won't stop, cause I feel so unstoppable. Yeah. Times when I lose control. Can't stop, won't stop, cause this is all I've ever known. Yeah. Feeling like a race through time. I'm speeding through the atmosphere. Moving at the speed of light. I'm what they'll talk about this year. I've been moving in cruise control. Can't stop, won't stop, cause I feel so unstoppable. Yeah. Even times when I lose control. Can't stop, won't stop, cause this is all I've ever known. Yeah.